What's up, guys? This is Ofo, and this is a UU match I just got on Smogan's Wi-Fi Battle Finder, and it ended up working out pretty well, and I ended up getting a match against ThudnStuff, and it turned out to be really fun, but it turned out to be really long as well. It ended up being a 40-turn match, and therefore I did speed up the game a little bit more than usual, and I might hurry at some parts. I apologize if I do, but I don't want a 15-minute video, so. Looking at his team, he has a Victini, a Flygon, a Celebi, and a Nidoking, and all those guys are real threats to like any team. But I'm gonna have to watch out for all those guys. But I ends up leading with Empoleon, and I just go for a fake out right off the bat to get my Toxic Orb up. But it shows he has Rocky Helmet, which is really unusual. But I guess it works in this case. But next turn, he will outspeed me and go for Stealth Rocks, which really do end up hurting my team in the long run because this is a 40-turn match, and I do switch out a lot, so I'm going to be taking a lot of residual damage from that Stealth Rock. But I do hit him with a close combat, and that is going to be a solid 1-hit KO with the Toxic Boost and Stab and super effective. So, but unfortunately, after all those Rocky Helmets and Toxic damage, I'm already to half without actually taking any direct damage. And he bigs in his Victini, and I do want to save my Hariyama. And so I go on my Confagrius to take a Zen Headbutt or whatever, any physical move. But he actually goes with Thunder, which shows he's a special Victini, which is very unusual, but I don't know. He's actually run some pretty creative sets in this game, and ended up paying off in this case. So I do switch out because I do want to save my Confagrius to take a hit later, and if for nothing else, Death Fodder. And I go on my Snorlax to take any kind of special it wants to do. And he ends up going for Shadow Ball, which is really great for me because I don't take any damage, so he then switches out and goes to his Flygon, and I guess he's predicting the Earthquake, but I end up going for Crunch, knowing he does have this Flygon, and I don't want him taking no damage from my Earthquake, so I hit him with the Crunch. It doesn't do too much, but whatever, I'll take any damage. I got my Confagrius here as nothing more than fodder because I kind of wanted to scout what this Flygon was going to do. Most of these guys tend to be Choice Scarfed, but, and he shows Draco Meteor here, and I don't see Leftover the Life Orb, which means I'm guessing he's Choice Scarfed. So I'll go into my Hariyama to bluff the Fake Out, and then attempt to catch his Victini on the switch to take the close combat of Fake Out or whatever. But he ends up going into his Dragonite, and based off that damage and the damage of the next Payback, he actually has Multiscale on this guy, and it's a simple mistake, but actually Dragonite does not get Multiscale. He gets Marvel Scale instead. So, that's kind of unfortunate for me. And as you saw, he also has a Celebi, which is OU. So he does have a couple of illegal things, but it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, here I go for a close combat, and even after Multiscale, does over half. So that is pretty big. So now that my Hariyama is dead, I go into my Snorlax, and I believe, for Crunch here to try to catch, hopefully, maybe he's like Victini or Celebi on the switch, but he just goes back into this Flygon, and Flygon doesn't take that too well, but he takes it okay. And I don't want, even though I know Snorlax is good special bulk, I don't want to be taking that because I do see that my Snorlax will be really good against Nidoking and his two Psychic types with Earthquake and Crunch respectively. So I go into this Rosary to take that, and based off that damage, I know that this Flygon must be Specs, because normally that a Draco Meteor from a Flygon who isn't all that specially offensive, that would not do that much. But I go for Leech Seed because I know I can survive one more, and I gain some health back. And this turn, I know I can survive one, and I just go for Leech Seed again because either way he's going to be dying, so there's no point of not. And in case he switches out, which he actually does. So I do catch that Victini on the switch, and I look kind of cool, double Leech Seeding. But it wasn't, in reality, it wasn't a risky prediction at all. So I do get up to a little bit under half after the Leech Seed recovery, which is really nice. And I go back into my Snorlax, thinking at this point that my Snorlax can pretty much wall his set, unless he has some kind of fighting move. And now he shows Flame Charge, which means he's actually mixed, but I do have that Thick Fat, which means I'm gonna be have resistance to fire. Even if it doesn't show it, I actually pretty much have a not very effective against fire. So he goes into his Dragonair, and I end up switching out, which I kind of wish if I'd stayed in I could have just, you know, hit that Dragonair for some damage, but I ended up going for Thunderbolt here, thinking it would be 2 KO, but it isn't, and that just kind of shows the power of Evilite. And if I could take it back, I would have gone for a trick right there at this point instead of that Thunderbolt. But now I'm locked into Thunderbolt, and then he ends up Thunder Waving my Choice Scuffed Rotomage, which is just useless. But he ends up getting a rest on the Sleep Talk, but then I get fully paralyzed. But it wouldn't have mattered too much because a Thunderbolt would not have taken him out anyway. So now I know that he's obviously going to just go for a rest on this turn up. So I go into my Snorlax, hoping I can maybe do some, you know, take this Dragonair out with Snorlax, because I know that I don't have much for this Dragonair. So, and I was hoping that maybe this, you know, Crunch or Return or Earthquake, whatever, would do more than ends up doing right here. I go for Crunch just in case he switches, which he could have, and I end up getting a crit. And I know even even after multi-scale, that doesn't do too much if it's a crit, so that means that Crunch is not going to be doing much. So instead of going for that again, I go for Return, but the reason I didn't go for it more is because I believe I'm not actually at max happiness based off that damage, which really sucks because a full power Return would have been really nice this battle, so I'm going to have to fix that at some point. But he ends up going for an Earth Power, and that doesn't do anything because of my special bulk, and I take him out with an Earthquake. So that was a kind of misplay on his part. He could have saved his Nidoking, but instead I guess he decided to. I guess he forgot about Snorlax's special bulk. So he then goes into his Flygon, and again I think my Snorlax will be, you know, useful. So I don't want him dying quite yet, and so I let my Roserade take that Specs Draco Meteor. But yeah. So I then switch out and I go into my Snorlax again. Knowing I can take one more and then take him out, or potentially hit something on the switch. So he switches out and he goes back into Dragonair, and I was hoping he would, you know, go into his Victini or his Celebi, but he doesn't. I mean, there wasn't much reason for him to go into his Celebi or Victini right there. So he outspeeds me and goes to Sleep Talk, and he goes for a Dragon Rush, and that is very low accuracy, but it is pretty powerful, and I don't have the best defenses, so that does a good amount against a fairly bulky Snorlax, so, and with a lot of HP. So he goes for another Sleep Talk, and I believe he gets Rest here. He gets another Dragon Rush, and it misses. Yeah, that's right. And I do hit him with another Earthquake, hoping for a crit, and I don't get it. And that even looks to be min damage, so I know again he's gonna fucking rest up next turn. So my plan is, the only way I can imagine dealing with this Dratini, or Dragonair, I apologize, is to go into my Rotom-H and hope he doesn't get a Dragon Rush, so I can then trick him my Choice Scarf, because this set relies on his bulk via Evilite and also his ability to rest Sleep Talk. So if he has Choice Scarf and doesn't have Evilite, that'd be really nice. But he ends up missing his Dragon Rush, which is amazing, because if he had hit me right there, I probably would have died. And now he gets his Choice Scarf, so that's really good for me, because now he's locked into Sleep Talk, even if he wakes up. And it turns out I actually could have taken a Dragon Rush, but I actually flinched there, which kind of sucks. But he goes to Sleep Talk. He's forced to go to God, I'm stumbling over my words again. He is forced to go to wow, I can't talk. He's forced to go for Sleep Talk because he's locked into it, and I go for an Overheat, and that does a lot considering that that's factoring in multi-scale. So he brings in his Victini, and at this point I know my Snorlax is a pretty good counter to him, but unfortunately my Snorlax is not liking these switch-ins to Stealth Rocks. Like, if it wasn't to Stealth Rocks, he'd probably be at half health or more. But even then, I'm pretty sure I can take at least one Thunder, but it'll be close, and I live with 10, which is amazing, and I'm able to take him out with a Crunch, and that is great. So now that Heat Threatened Victini is just out of the way, but unfortunately it was at the cost of my Snorlax, because now pretty much anything can come in and revenge kill me. So he goes into his Flygon, and he just goes for an Earth Power, not wanting to waste a Draco Meteor on my Snorlax. So there goes my Snorlax, and I'm not going to be able to use that guy to counter Victini. But now I go into my Alakazam, and I'm not. I know I can probably take one Earth Power at least, and I can also outspeed him if I. Well, yeah, I would have just killed him off. What am I saying? So I go for a Shadow Ball as he brings in his Dratini or Dragonair, and right now I know he has 3 Pokemon left, and one of them is Celebi, and I know I can outspeed Dragonair and his Flygon, but I'm not gonna be able to 1-hit KO his Celebi, so I need a sub up. So I'm just constantly going for substitute, just hoping that the 70% accurate move will miss. But unfortunately it doesn't. And that's terrible, because if that had missed, well, spoilers, I probably could have won this game, but because of those 3 hits, you know what can you do? It's luck was involved, but so yeah, I outspeed him here, which confirms he is Specs, not Scuffed. If he was, I just would have lost right there too, because my Rotom will die from rocks. But now it goes into a Celebi, and now I have to watch as this expert belted Shadow Ball doesn't take out a Celebi, and I didn't expect it to, because Celebi has 252, I believe, special defense and HP. So it's not exactly like Celebi isn't bulky. So whatever. But yeah, that was a great game. My Rotom will die from, Stealth Rocks. So there was there's some unfair stuff. He did have a multi-scale Dragonair, which, whatever. That did come into play, but and also he had Celebi. So it was kind of a messed up game, but it was still really fun and it was close. So good game, ThudnStuff, and I hope to do it again sometime. See you guys. Peace.